to the Be My Guest podcast, where we interview inspiring entrepreneurs who share their stories and their insights and much, much more. You made a great choice tuning in today to the Be My Guest podcast. Welcome and enjoy the show. Welcome, guys, to another episode of Be My Guest. On the Be My Guest podcast, we have another great entrepreneur that we're interviewing who has an inspiring story and an inspiring situation to cover today. And I want to make sure you guys know that if you want to be interviewed as well, you can go to our website, BeMyGuestPodcast.com, click on Get Interviewed, and we will consider putting you here on the podcast as well. Without further ado, I want to bring our guests on. This is Jennie. And Jennie, tell us real quick. First of all, thank you for showing up and being a part of the podcast and being interviewed. But why don't you give us a moment, introduce yourself, what you do, and how you got started.
Hello. Hi, Frankie. Thank you for having me. My name is Jennie Bradach. I am a state board licensed electrolysis. So I do hair removal.
Awesome. How long have you been doing that?
It's been over 10 years for me now.
10 years. Now, I know a little bit about the backstory, but that wasn't really your original career choice from what you were telling me. Tell me kind of how you ended up in this field.
Oh, yeah. So I moved here from Vietnam 15 years ago, and I was doing my master's degree in educational administration. So my original first career in the United States was I was a teacher. I taught Mandarin I'm Vietnamese, but I also speak Mandarin. So I taught Mandarin in a high school in Mathis ISD, a ISD in Texas. And then I met up with my husband who's stationed in Corpus Christi. He's Navy pilot. We got married. He got an order to San Diego. So we moved to San Diego. And then due to both of us, we don't have families in San Diego. I wanted a job that I can control my own time. I want to be able to be there when my kids need me. So I decided to open a business. So I decided to do hair removal.
And that was a process that you learned and then got mentored by another lady that was doing hair removal as well. What was some of the challenges you had in the beginning when you first started that helped you get going?
Yes. As a small business owners, especially when you started, there's a lot of hiccups on the way. Yeah. So I got licensed by the state of California, and back then, when you started a business, you need to put your name out there, and it's not easy, right? And also English is my second language, so it's also something harder for me compared with others, I guess. But I contact several electrolysts in town, just like asking, hey, if you need help, I can be in your office. And then there was this lady who wanted to help me. She didn't want to hire me though, but she wanted for me to rent the rooms the day that she's not there. So I started with that, and then she introduced me to other clients. So she referred me to. That's how I started with that. Yes.
Yeah. And that kind of gave you a springboard to get your clients going and start doing that. That's good. That's great.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good when you can work with someone else who's in the same field and it's not so competitive. They don't want to lend a hand or at least help in some way. How long did it take you to get started and actually branch out and open up your own place?
Right. So it took me about 3-4 months from when I started with her. I rent 2.5 days from her, and then I just get so booked that I told her that, hey, it's time for me to to have to rent my own place, and she was so supportive. And that's something that I think that is so nice when people who are in the same industry that willing to help new people. That's what I'm trying to do now, that I'm in my 10 years in business, I'm trying to do the same thing. As I know how important it is to to be helped by others in the same industry. So yeah, it took me about 3-4 months until I got my first room on myself.
That's amazing. And
Yeah.
you were mentioning that not only did she rent her space to you, but she actually gave you some good tips on how to
Yeah.
handle the clients, etc. Can you talk about that?
She was so nice. I was in school, still working on getting my license, and she actually made a drive from San Diego to it was Tustin, South California, and it was about 2 hour, 3 hour drive. She was willing to drive up there, see me, and want to see how I work. And then it was actually her original school too. That's where she graduated at Wells. So she went, and then she wanted to make sure that I not only have the help from school but also from hers, as already a business owner, successful. She was in her fourth year at that time, so she has a lot of experience, a lot more than me, and she was willing to show me the technique, the tips. English was my biggest concern. I was not confident. I was worried. I don't know how to give a proper consultation to clients, and she was helping me by saying, hey, you need to be confident. That's the core thing, because even if you have the skill, you know what you're doing, but if you're not confident, people, especially when people come trying to learn from you, try to see how you can help them, and you're not even confident to tell them how you can help them, then they would not gonna stay with you.
Right,
That's
right.
the first thing that I learned from her, is to be confident and to be able to like explain what I do to people.
Yeah. And that seemed to be very helpful, right?
It is so much helpful. I think I'm so I know my skill. I know I can do the job well. I know I can help people. But yes, but in order to help people, you must be able to explain people how you can help them.
Right, right. And that's very key. So,
Mhm.
and that's good for pretty much any entrepreneur to know, is like when you're dealing with clients, potential clients, you need to have a transfer of confidence, from you to them, that you can help them achieve the goals they have. So that's very key. So you went from there. About 3 or 4 months later, you opened up your own place, and you've had that. Did you stay in the same location? Did you outgrow that location? Have you been at the same location there in San Diego for 10 years, or how's that work?
So I want to respect her, even though she have a wait list, and she very successful what she's doing. I don't want to open right next door. I know it would be more convenient for the client who I'm seeing and who she referred to me if I stay close to the area. But for my respect to her, I don't want to do that, because you
Right.
never know. You don't want to have like the same, especially with our field, there's not a lot of electrologists out there. So you don't want us to be right to each other, and
Right.
especially how much she has been helping me. I moved, a little bit further away. And yeah, I share this office with one of the esthetician. There was two rooms in there, and she got one room, I got one rooms, and then I still get referred from these electrologists who has been helping me. So
Hmm.
it has been a very very good yeah,
Even 10 years.
transition. Yeah.
Yeah. Even 10 years later, she's still referring people to you, huh?
Still now, actually,
Wow.
it's so funny because so I actually have three electrologists,
Mm.
practitioners working in my San Diego location, and one electrologist actually work with me several days. Right now is one day, but moving up, if we more than one day, 2-3 days, and then she's also working with that electrologist as well.
Right.
So we also have these electrologists who work in both places. So we have a really
Nice.
relationships. Yeah.
So you've had that location there for 10 years, you've grown it. How many customers are you serving there at that location in San Diego?
I would say thousands of thousands from,
Wow.
yeah, for these 10 years now. Yes. I was
Yeah.
counting actually. Last week we saw 123 clients just in 1 week. Last
Nice.
week. Yes.
And now you've expanded to McKinney, Texas. Yeah, what brought you to Texas?
So when COVID happened, a lot of people know in California, a lot of businesses was, the regulation was to shut down. So like you can't run your business, especially with my business. Like we work very close with people, so we can't like in California you have, I think it was like what, 10 feet the distance, like we
Mm,
can't be close to each other even though you're family as well. And then back then it's like I also actually back then I own another business. I do bridal, so I sell wedding gowns, and the wedding industry was like totally shut down. There's no
mhm.
wedding, no
Yeah.
parties, nothing like that. And even with restaurant you can also only do take out. There's no sit-in, so it was tough. I mean,
Yeah.
my kid was staying at home. There's no school. um yeah, so I got help from the government. I get help with like money for the income and stuff, but compared to what I made, if it was open, it's like a totally different number. So it cut a lot of income for us for that. I don't
Yeah.
know, like 2 years. It was tough. And my husband actually finished his 20 years with the Navy,
Mm,
so he was retired from the Navy in San Diego, and we were talking about it. We're like, hey, I don't know how long this gonna be, right? And I
right.
need to have my business open. I don't want to lose my skill. I also want to serve people. I don't want just to get the money from the government. And um, we stayed in Texas 4 years before we moved to San Diego. So we were like, hey, maybe let make a trip to Texas and see how things go. We made a 5-day trip in Dallas, and we absolutely love it. I mean, we really like it here, and it's so funny because in Texas, it's like back then, it's like totally different country. Like everything was open. It was, so we landed at 11 p.m. and then we went to eat sushi at 2 a.m. after, we're
Mm,
just like putting stuff together in a hotel, and then everything was open. It was so funny.
yeah.
And then we're like, it's so different with California. And I was talking with my friends, school are open, everything was open. And I mean, I respect, however people want to do, with their life. And I like to be able to choose how I want to do. Either if I choose to want to be staying home, I can. If I want to come out, I can. So I like the vibe. Like, my
Right.
husband was just on the same page with me, and we made our move.
Right.
So when we moved, California just start opening again, and my at first I thought I would sell my business in San Diego and move here, and then we'll open in McKinney. But because for the 2 3 years of COVID, so many clients have hairs that they need to be removed, and then they kept contact me, and I'm like, wow, why don't I just keep this business in San Diego? Because their client keep calling, hey, you
Hmm.
open again. So I'm like, okay, so yeah. So I talked to some other electrologists, and then we work together, and then I just keep my business in San Diego going and have them in and work with the clients.
Nice. So,
Yeah.
so you've been set up there. You open up your shop there in McKinney. How long?
Yes.
How long has it been open?
It's been 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Okay.
Yes, yes.
And how's it going so far?
See, I moved to McKinney or take Dallas about 3 years now. But at first, I was hesitated because I don't really know the market here. So I was just flying back and forth between Dallas and San Diego to manage
Hmm.
my work in San Diego. I didn't. I want to open it here, but I didn't have the courage. The
Yeah.
courage to open it
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And then I want to make sure my kids are, stable. We got a house and everything. But so finally, I'm like, okay, it's time. At first, I wanted to start from home, but at the same time, I don't know. It's just the feeling of introducing people to your house is something that stopping me. So but I was also afraid to commit to have to pay lease, right?
Right.
Because like you have to pay this rent, and then this overhead and all of that, and how you're able to do that. But I think if I don't do it now, when am I going to do it?
Right. Right. So you
Right.
took the
So
leap.
like you just have to like, hey, just do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I made the decision in August actually, and this year I'm like, hey, let's just go out and find a place. So I visited multiple location, and I really like this beautiful Adriatica, and it's like very close to my house, beautiful. So yeah, I signed a lease here, and
Yeah.
yeah.
And what's the competition like there in the area? Do you have a lot of competition, or what is it like?
See, when I say I am an electrologist, a lot of people don't know about my job, right? When I say I'm a hair removal practitioner, they say, "Oh, you do hair removal. So are you do like waxing or lasering or something?" I'm like,
Mhm.
"No, I do electrolysis." So I explain them what I do, and then they're like, "Ooh, that is something new." I'm like, "No, it's actually, I've been here, a long time, but not a lot of people knowing that, because not a lot of electrolytists around, and
Right.
so in Dallas Fort Worth, I would say a handful of 20, 30 people that is electrologists, and in McKinney itself I have not seen anyone. I
Right.
would see the city around me, they are electrologists, but not in McKinney. So I'm like, okay, why don't I just open it here, and trying to
Right.
like introduce people of what I do.
Right. Can you explain to the audience the difference between, someone that does waxing or anything like that? What's the difference between what you do versus that?
That's really good question, and thank you for letting me explain that. When you do waxing or threading, thing like that, you just cut the surface of the hair,
Mhm.
and you don't really work anything with the root of the hair, like the follicles, so the hair will still growing back. And for a lot of client, when you do waxing or threading, shaving, the hair even growing back thicker and
Mm.
darker and stronger. So that is absolutely a method, but it's like an ongoing thing. You should
Yeah.
just keep doing that. Now, laser is a really good method of hair removal. We actually, as electrologists with laser practitioner, we actually exchange client all the time. Now, laser is approved as deduction, so it's reduced the amount of the hair that you have by the FDA. Is a reduction method, when
Mhm.
electrolysis is the only permanent method of hair removal. And why we refer laser, client to laser, and why they will refer client back to us, is because when client coming in, like with the whole back hair, whole leg hairs, we would refer them to laser technician to clear, the hair that the laser can treat, and then what left over, we'll invite them back to us, and then we'll do it. Now, but smaller area, for example, face, like eyebrow for men, women, men have unibrow, or like ears for men, beard area for men. Now for women, like upper lip, chin, jawline, hairline, okay, underarms, smaller area. Then electrolysis work really well. It will save you so much money to choose electrolysis over laser with a smaller area of body.
Yeah.
Now with laser, the bigger area would be better to go do, like if you are a good candidate for laser, because not all candidates are good. Like you have to have a fair skin and darker hair for laser. So if you're a good candidate, go do laser first, and then come see electrologist to remove whatever left over. But electrolysis work with all kind of hair colors, skin colors.
Mm.
Yeah,
And it's technically the only permanent solution.
exactly. That is.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
Mhm.
we're learning something today. You offer the permanent solution of the hair being removed for good. So that's good. That's the way to define it between hair removal for waxing or threading or laser versus what you do. So that's really good. Very good.
That's true.
So now that you're set up there in McKinney, you're growing, you're getting the word out. What's the response been so far?
See, that's one of the thing too. It took me about 3-4 months in San Diego to do it, but I have help. I have somebody in the field that helping me. She has a wait list, so she refer client to me. So the people who come to like reach out to her already know they want to do hair removal. Now
Hmm.
my biggest like what hard for me right now in McKinney is I don't have any help, right? So I
Hmm.
have to start on my own, and not a lot of people know what electrolysis is. So I'm trying to work on making awareness, like putting education, like telling people what I do, networking, go see people, join groups, and and then also I try to do some advertisement on Facebook, Instagram. I was thinking to do something with Google as well. One of the things that I was thinking is I need more reviews, because I feel like review is really important as of now. I don't have not yet, because I don't know. It's just me, or I don't want to ask family or friend to do it if they
Right.
don't have not tried my service. I want like real reviews. So that's what I'm trying to work on. All the reviews I have from San Diego are from client organic. So that's what I'm trying to do here. But I think reviews, is very important. Like,
Yeah.
you want client to read what other people have experienced, right? In order to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it can be challenging when you're setting up a new location and they're not as you know, understanding or realize what it is that you do. So sounds like you're gonna have to do some educational tours there and get some people to know what you guys often do. So that's really good to do that. So for you, what is it like though when you scaled your business? How many people do you have working for you over there at the other location in San Diego?
I have three practitioners there now, and over here, actually, I two ladies that already contact me. The electrologist community, even though you are not in the same like, is very small. Like, a lot of electrologists across the state as well, because
Hmm.
we're not a big community. So if you are well known in a state, other state, people may know you as well. And I have a good reputation in San Diego. I know a lot of electrologists around, and when I'm here and I open here, for some reason, some electrologists know that I'm opening here too, right? Because I networking and stuff too. But there were two lady already contact me and say, hey, when you
Nice.
start being busy here, please like contact us. We would love to join your team.
Yeah, yeah, and that's good. That's good.
Mhm,
So let me ask you this: the field that you're in. I
mhm.
mean, what kind of how big is it? How many people? What's the demand when it comes to overall? I know in San Diego, once everybody came out of COVID, you said everybody needed a lot of service. How
Mhm.
big can you get this business?
Is huge. I mean, I think in San Diego, I'm more familiar with that market. I would say 60% of my client would be women, and then about 10 to 15 clients are men. But then when men come in, and they stick for a long time, because there's more hairs to treat as
Yeah.
well. And then the rest, I would say about 20 to 25% are transgender clients, client who we get referred from doctor office.
Mm,
Uh,
gotcha.
yes, we help them to prep for their surgery. Now in So we're really busy over there, and because we get refer from the doctor, we get refer from laser office, we get referred from clinics, and then also word of mouth, right? Like, people will introduce our service to each other. And I think I have a really good website. I think is I didn't really do much SEO, but I think with the 10 years of running this website, a lot of people jumped in and read it and everything. So it just popped on
Yeah.
Google. So that really helpful. Um, Now in McKinney, I did a little market research. It seemed like it's not as popular as California. So that will be some work with me to introduce this service.
Yeah, and I believe I have your website here scrolling across the bottom. So if you
Mhm.
guys want some more information, make sure to visit that website there and get some more information, especially if you're in the McKinney, Dallas area. How far is Dallas and McKinney from each other?
So DFW is like like it's like a huge area. There's so many cities right now. McKinney is north of Dallas, and it's about 45 minutes
Yeah.
suburban area.
Gotcha. Yeah. So make sure you visit a website and check out the locations and all the information there. I'm sure you got some educational things and information they can learn about more about what you do, etc. Is there anything else that you wanted to make sure to include in as we talk with you today?
Um, I just want to say something real quick. I think as a business owner, even like me myself, I have this 10 years experience in the San Diego location. Like now that I open a new location, with new technology is so different. Like nowadays, how people advertising, how people make their image out there is such different with how back then how we did it. So I feel like we should just continue learn, right? As we grow, like try to explore new things, as well as even with my electrolysis, I always go to advanced classes and try to keep training, educating myself and also my practitioners. So I was just thinking that we should not just accept what we have, but we just have to move on, learn new thing, and try to expand, exploring. And I really like it. Is actually my first time doing podcast.
Well, good job.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, I'm doing a new thing today,
Yeah, getting the word out.
Exactly.
And having a conversation about what you do is always a plus. So, but I'm with you. We got to keep learning and evolving, because if not, we the old saying is, if you're not learning, you're dying.
Right, you don't want to be behind.
Yeah, so we want to make sure to do that. Well, Jennie, I appreciate you coming on and sharing with the audience today about your business and what you do, the differences between other services versus what you do, and giving us your story. And we're wishing you good luck on the new location. And so hopefully we can have you back when you're packed and you're full and you're looking to start your third location. How about that?
Oh my gosh. Yes, I would love to. Thank you so much.
All right. Just hang tight real quick for me. I'm going to play this outro. For those of you who are watching, thanks for tuning in at the Be My Guest podcast. You've been watching Be My Guest podcast. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to be a guest on our podcast, go to BeMyGuestPodcast.com. That's BeMyGuestPodcast.com.